People of the Purple Butterfly here, otherwise known as People7 on Twitter and YouTube, People elsewhere on the internet. My blog is located at purplebutterfly-people.blogspot.com. And my soaps, Purple Butterfly soaps, can be located at people.etsy.com. And I just ordered me a Triton system, and I'm here to tell you why. This is my Clear Fusion tank. And as you can tell, it's full of juice. And this one is full of juice. But they are unusable because they've been refilled so many times that nothing happens when you try to use them. And I'm not going to throw away juice, so when the next system gets here, I'm going to just dump them on in there. For some reason, they didn't make any provisions to recycle, rebuild, or whatever with that product, which means you have this metal, plastic, and glass configuration, and you can't recycle any of it. You can't rebuild it, which means this essentially, once it's empty, it's garbage. I am a, reduce, reuse, recycle kind of girl, so that bothers me. My backup battery needs to be on the charger, and I'm using my MIG-6 battery, which the quartermizers are starting to taste a little bit burnt. I kind of got spoiled on the tank system, always tasting perfect because that's what tanks do. Except for I can't use the tank until I get a new tank system, or at least a refillable, rebuildable, rechargeable type of tank. And this system, I know for a fact, doesn't use them. This one is the latest. I have gone through cartomizers after cartomizers after cartomizers. Literally, I burned through 4 of these in a day. And when I first started using E6, that was no big deal to me. It was like, oh, well, need to refill that, so forth and so on. But then I got used to the tank, fill that sucker up once, it lasts you the whole day, part of the next day, and then, you only fill them up as needed. And if you want to switch out flavors or whatever, you just take another tank, put it on there, and basically you get used to filling those things up once a week instead of 3-4 times a day. So, And then I learned something new this week. Well, might as well take out my menthol because that's next. I have a big bottle of that menthol. This is just an old bottle it was in because, well, it has the labeling. And the label is identical because I just bought a bigger version of this. But I also have these. And this was before I figured out, hey, if I leave the label, then I can just, replace it with the same stuff. This is Doug juice. Looks a little darker, don't it? This is peach. Looks a little darker. And this is the cotton candy I just bought that looked pink at first. Looks a lot darker, don't it? Well, I found out, I actually sent a letter off to Mount Baker Vapor and said, quick question. I hate when that happens. I said, quick question. The menthol and the peach and so forth and so on was crystal clear when I got it, and now things are looking like a pale peach or red or purple. A red or, I know what I mean. I just ain't getting the words from here to here. That happens. It's looking like a deeper red, basically. So what gives with that? And they said, oh, seems like you finally had the proper amount of steeping time. Well, yeah, that's true. The first time I had peach, I used it up within a week. Actually, I went through it in 2 days. Well, this has been sitting here for over a week. So, yeah, it's got the proper amount of sleeping time because it hasn't been touched, literally, because I still have some peach upstairs. So the color change surprised me, and they said, well, anytime you get new juices, it's a good idea to steep them, let them mellow, so forth and so on. Well, that's great to know, but if you don't know it, you know it now, because, I got on the phone like, hey, wait a minute. I thought something was wrong with my juice. Anyway, I can't wait to try that out in the Triton system. And this needs to go on the charger, so what do I do with the charger? Oh, I bought the Triton tank, which has refillable coils, which means when the coil comes out of there, if you don't want to rinse it off and rebuild it, whatever, you just pop a whole new one on, and you get a set of 5 of those, and it's just something that has wicks on it and a little teeny piece of metal like this, so even if you threw it away, you're not adding to the carbon footprint of the planet with a great big thing that has to be thrown out because it can't be recycled. So I feel much better about that. That's for the mid. This is for the circle. Anyway, for a second there, I thought my battery wasn't going to fit on there. I was threading it the wrong way. Anyway, I thought I'd share that. When it gets here, I have to immediately charge it, and it now has its own battery. So I am so glad that they write the names of the batteries. Like this one is for MIG. This one is a SIG to go. The Triton will actually say Halo, and I might put a label that says Triton on there, because the G6 is also Halo, and it says specifically in big letters across the whole web page for both of them, do not use a G6 tank with the Triton system. And then if you look at the other page, it says do not use the Triton system with the G6 tank. Apparently they're not compatible, even though they look exactly alike. So I make sure that when I'm recharging my MIG-6, I'm using the MIG-6 battery, and when I'm charging this backup, I'm using the battery for the backup. When I get the one for the Halo Triton, I'm going to make sure I'm using the Triton battery. If I ever get a G6 battery, so forth, so on, because they do say you can cause irrevocable damage. Irrevocable, you can't come back from, because that means it's done if you do that. That stuff costs far too much money. It could get stuck with, oh, now I can't use it. So I'm going to see, I'm sinking down. I got this coat because degrees outside, and I went out there. I enjoyed the weather, and then I came back in and felt like I was Nanook of the North. It was so cold, and then I look up and I'm hot again. I don't know if I'm having a hot flash or if the weather in Cincinnati is going crazy. It's probably the weather in Cincinnati, because Mom says she felt cold too, and we actually turned on the heat. Then, we turned off the heat because it got hot in the house. Anyway, all that being said, when I get the Triton battery, I'll let you know how it goes. If nothing else, because it says can be threaded for 808, which means I could use the tank on my MIG-6, and it's rechargeable, refillable, so forth and so on. Why they think of that when they created the one that can't be refilled or rebuilt, so forth and so on, because it simply was a small system. It even has a cone where you could, combine the system. Like if you just have the cartomizer and you want to put put together and not have it look all funky, it has a cone that covers it up so that way it looks congruent. But I'm just going to use it as a tank because, well, I've gotten spoiled on tanks. Anyway, sat down to have a puff and then didn't puff, and now my body's going, hey, what's giving on the cigarette here? Come on now, give me my nicotine. And I am happy to report that Mom quit smoking on the 17th. It is the 21st. She has not had a tobacco product in all that time. She's using the backup batteries, and that's another reason why I need to get the Triton system or another, system, so forth, so on, because the one tank that does work is in her room, because, this, I know for a fact, would be frustrating to try to figure out all that stuff when she didn't necessarily want to quit smoking anyway. Her doctor decided that. So I'm making it as easy as possible. And every now and then I go in there and I grab the, e-cig that I left in there, and I'll take a couple of puffs of the pure menthol flavored tank and then give it back to her. And then I go somewhere and refill this, but after a while, because you're not supposed to just continuously refill these. You can only refill them a certain amount of time. Then you get a whole another box of blanks or whatever and refill those, because after a while, they get to tasting like burnt cardboard. I don't know where that flavor comes from, but you get your nice, menthol or peach or thug juice or cool mint or whatever, and then you put, that in the old cartridge, and because, well, let's put it this way. This is a powerful battery. This has an ohm or whatever to connect the two dots. So then when you're using this, you're actually activating a charge or whatever. So when you go to use it and you've used it past time, it tastes burnt. Not a good taste. Especially if you came from being a cigarette smoker and you were used to all the nuances of tobacco products to, hey, this is clean tasting, there's no scent, so forth, so on. Now here's a burnt taste. We don't want the burnt taste. Anyway, this video has now become 12 minutes long, and I only want to share a little something. So I'm going to go away now. There's soaps to be made. It's Friday. My phone is doing that sync down thing, so we're not going to let it get away with that. I'm going to go enjoy my Friday. You stay blessed, stay tuned. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. My blog is located at purplebutterfly-people.blogspot.com, and Purple Butterfly soaps can be located at people.etsy.com. Y'all stay tuned. There's some wonderful soaps that are on the curing rack that look amazing and will be available soon.